Pins and needles were the first thing Yuri Peterson felt as he began to ease back towards consciousness from his drug-induced sleep. Pins and needles in his hands, similar to when he woke in the night, having slept on his arm. Only this was different. Somewhere far off in the real world, away from the dark spinning pool in his semi-conscious mind, he could feel sharp pain in his wrists and pain in his ankles. As the seconds ticked by, the drug began to wear off, allowing him brief, fleeting snippets of reality. Pins and needles and pain, the hum of an air conditioning unit, the chill on his sweaty brow. Then he slipped back, reeling and falling into the depths of his cloudy mind. The unconsciousness was far more tempting than reality. Desperately, Peterson tried to hold on to it as he felt himself spinning once again. He wasn't ready to wake yet and face whatever it was that awaited him. But it was too late. The spinning pool released him, and he opened his eyes. If it hadn't been for the hammering pain raging through his head, Peterson wouldn't have even known he was conscious, as the room was completely dark. Blinking with slow, deliberate actions, he tried to clear the pounding, woolly fuzz in his head. Attempts to move his wrists and feet only caused the chair to which he was bound to scrape and skip across the floor, emitting a sound like nails scraping down a blackboard. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, a thin bead of light on the far side of the room gradually revealed itself, followed by the dim, faint outline of a door. A chill ran through his body. Whoever was in charge of the air conditioning had it cranked up high, and the cool air hit his brow, chilling the sweaty sheen which matted his graying hair to his head. What can I remember? Peterson asked himself. I remember the meeting and giving the speech. I remember leaving the convention center, the rush-hour traffic of Kuala Lumpur, and almost being late for the presidential dinner at the J.W. Marriott. After dinner and a few drinks, I went to my room and showered before heading straight to bed. The memories flooded back, one after another, each encouraging the next. So I remember going to bed, he confirmed. But then? That's where the memories stopped and gave way to confusion. Then I woke up here, bound to a chair in a dark room. Peterson's heart hammered in his chest like a drum. The sound of it flowed through his body and filled his ears with a rhythmic throbbing. He cleared his throat and forced back the dry, parched sensation on his tongue. "Hello? Anyone? Hey!" he cried in a cracked and broken voice, the effort causing sharp pain to flare up in his throat. In almost immediate response to his plea, heavy footsteps emanated from the other side of the door, followed by the click of a latch and a blast of light which forced him to lower his head and close his eyes to protect them. Someone flicked a switch and more light flooded the room when an array of fluorescent bulbs buzzed and pinged reluctantly to life. Small, deliberate blinks allowed his vision to adjust to the bright light which filled the room. Lifting his gaze and ignoring the searing pain in his head, Peterson took a moment to take in his surroundings. The room was small, no more than 15 feet square. Bright white walls were complemented by matching tiles on the floor. There were no windows, and only one large, strong-looking metal door. The footsteps belonged to a tall, thick-set male with dark brown, swept-back hair. His jet-black suit looked fresh from the dry cleaners, and the shirt underneath was as dazzling as the walls. Reaching behind him, the stranger pushed the door closed with a heavy metallic clunk. "Mr. Peterson," the man began, fixing him with chilling blue eyes and the type of smile usually associated with overly keen used car salesmen. "Firstly, let me apologize for the way we had to meet. It was believed that this was the only way possible for you to listen to what I have to say. What happens after that is entirely down to you." Something about his whole demeanor gave Peterson the chills, and as the stranger spoke, the false, crazed smile never once left his lips. "Judging by my position," Peterson croaked, "I find it hard to believe I have any control over what happens next." Speaking was getting easier with each moment, but it was hard to hide the panic that was setting in. Whatever drug they had used on him was slowly wearing off, but not fast enough for him to figure out a way from the situation. "On the contrary, your destiny is entirely in your hands," the stranger contradicted. "You see, Mr. Peterson, we know who you are." Peterson watched him cross the room, the heels of his well-polished black shoes clicking on the white tiles like the ticking of a clock. "Of course you know who I am," Peterson snapped. "I've been at the World Summit for the past week. I addressed almost every head of state in the world this afternoon." The suited stranger beamed at him, presenting a row of perfectly white, unnatural-looking teeth.